Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. I'm Nathan Hager, joined by Bloomberg's Valerie Teitel. While we wait for earnings to cross the Bloomberg terminal from Walmart, it seems that investors aren't waiting to move on this stock. What's going on, Valerie? Good morning.
Yeah, Walmart falling as much as 2.5% so far in pre-market trade ahead of their earnings, which are due to drop in the next 5 minutes. So a lot of expectation for this earnings report today, but there are quite some bullish expectations. A lot of that is due to the fact that they gave conservative guidance in their previous set of results before they had clarity on tariffs. We really look to Walmart as a proxy for consumer spending and for consumption, which for the U.S. GDP makes up about 2/3 of GDP growth. So we'll hopefully see those earnings in just a few moments, but Walmart in the red to start this morning's trade.
All right. Well, while we wait for those earnings, let's talk about what we've been seeing in Palantir. That stock has been on quite the sell-off over the last few days.
Yeah, quite the sell-off. Palantir's actually been the worst performing stock in the S&P 500 over the last 6 sessions, but we're seeing some signs that maybe the worst of the tech rout is over. Palantir shares up over 1% in pre-market trade. NVIDIA shares as well in the green, up 0.7%. But this is important for Palantir because in the last 6 sessions, it's wiped off around $73 billion in market value, fallen 16%. Its worst week for the stock since the April tariff tantrum. It has given some money to the short sellers. We had some data from S3 Partners showing that short sellers have pocketed more than $1.6 billion in profits from the slide of the last few days. The short interest in the stock, though, remains quite small, around 2.5% of free float. But the stock that has gone parabolic lately seems to be, doing all right with this tech rout maybe ending.
Yeah, at least this morning, that's for sure. Let's talk about some other stocks that have been on the move following their earnings. What's happening with Coty?
So Coty, this is a very interesting one. It's a beauty and perfume conglomerate. They own CoverGirl and Rimmel, but this morning the stock is down over 21%. They posted an unexpected loss after their earnings of 5 cents per share. Estimates were for a 2-cent profit. They also forecasted a steep sales decline in the future as customer demand remains soft. This is less really of a tariff narrative here, Nathan, but more of just a company that's really been struggling with the turnaround plan. It's been a 5-year turnaround plan. It seems to have been unsuccessful. So we're seeing Coty drop 21% in pre-market trade.
Different story, though, when it comes to CoreWeave. Those shares are on the rise this morning.
Yeah, this is a bit of a different one for CoreWeave. We had some regulatory filings that showed that Jane Street had made a passive investment in the company of around 5.4%. So they hold a 5% stake now in the company. And I guess those regulatory filings, the market is I guess, doing pretty well off the back of that. CoreWeave is rising over 3% so far off the back of this. And
we just have this red headline crossing the Bloomberg terminal. Boeing said to be in talks to sell as many as 500 planes to China, and this stock is spiking, Val.
Yeah, up 2.6% off the back of these headlines, Nathan, for Boeing. It is said to be in talks to sell as many as 500 planes to China. As you mentioned, it's citing sources familiar with the matter and had mentioned that the mega sale to China is actually contingent on the two nations diffusing some of the trade hostilities that go back to Donald Trump's first term when he began the trade war with China. So that could still fall apart, and a lot of that might hinge more on the political sphere. But it does seem to be that Boeing is acting positively to this latest headline and talks to sell as many as 500 planes to China. The stock is up 2.5%.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.